Hey everybody, it's George. Let's talk a little bit about gross and net margin again. So I know I'm on the road. I apologize. It's just this is when I get to think through things because I'm not, working on a deal or a project or meeting with somebody. But I've been sitting here on the drive this morning, reflecting on conversations I've been having over the past month and a half, and one in particular just has been gnawing at me, and it's about gross and net margin. So if you're looking at, and this is all about real estate, of course, so for people who are looking at how they want to purchase a property because they're going to renovate it and they're going to put it on the retail market, flipping, so many people are fixated on the dollar, and I don't understand why that's the mindset. And then it got me thinking more, and I was remembering back to some old real estate investor type meetings, the meetups. And there's so many people that start those, they kick off those sessions saying, if I don't get a deal where I don't walk away with at least this much money, it's not a deal for me. Well, the problem is you presume then that every deal has a dollar value of equal starting point and basis. Meaning, this person says in this meetup, if I can't make $30,000 on a deal, I'm not touching it. Okay, well, $30,000 could be 3 times what the property is capable of returning in a dollar value, or it could be 1/3 of what the property is capable of returning in a value. And if your starting point is always mentally, I need to make this much dollar value on a property, then your analysis for that property is going in the wrong direction right out of the gate. You need to be looking at things, in my opinion, if you're going to run a business where you're dealing with real estate investment of all kinds, but if you're building a business, I promise you, there is no company out there that structures their business based upon how much cash they have to make per deal. They structure their business based upon gross and net margins, because at the end of the day, it's all about the earnings, and the earnings are driven by margins. If you don't know your margins and how to accomplish your margins, then the dollar value is irrelevant, because you could be, again, leading yourself in the wrong direction, positively or negatively. So a lot of people use the general rule of thumb of saying it's going to be, 70%, the 70% rule on the purchase. So you've got, I think it's worth this much money, 70% of that is this, minus my renovation cost, equals a purchase price of X. Well, that gets you a ton of gross margin, okay? That 70% gross margin there, the 70% with a 30% gross margin, that's really what's going to protect your deal, because that's going to be where you account for all of your carry costs, your borrowing costs, things like that. Which leaves you with your net margin. Remember, your renovation cost is a 1-for-1 payback. So the gross margin really is for everything on top of your renovation cost. If your gross margin is going to include your renovations, you're toast. You're toast. If you want to have a simple method of calculating your renovation cost to instead of trying to figure out 70% and everything else, you could try the 50% rule. I don't recommend it if you don't know what you're doing and you haven't done this before. But again, 30% gross margin, you should be walking away 12 to 15% net. And the reason why I go down to even 12 is because if shit happens, excuse my language, if something goes wrong, you're going to have a contingency hit. But if you're starting out saying, well, I got to make $30,000, $50,000, $100,000, whatever the number is, you start out with a cash basis as your driving factor. You say, I got to walk away with $30,000. Okay. That means that at the end of it, the whole thing, if it's a $300,000 property, your net is 10%. Okay? Does that make you feel good? Man, this bridge is bad. Does that make you feel good? Does that make you feel like it's a good deal? Because 10% net margin, I would tell you, is on the low side. But if that's the $30,000 you want to make, okay, then I guess you're okay with that. Now that you've set the baseline for your business, you're willing to do 10% net deals. It's okay. I know other people who will go down to 5 and 6% net because they do a volume business where they're always turning things over. So they're looking to say, I'm okay with taking less on my net because I'm taking less on my gross. So, know your gross and net margin goals. That's how you run your business. That's how you determine your financials. And that's how you know the health of what you're doing. Sorry, these roads are terrible right through here. So for everybody who's doing this, if you're thinking about getting into it, Don't walk around going, "Oh, I got to make $50,000 on this deal." Whoa! That could be the worst way to go about it, because again, you're starting off with trying to build everything into accomplishing that number. If you fill in your blanks and you see your gross and your net, and you've got a net margin minimum and it's set at 10%, 12%, 15%, build your spreadsheet and have it auto-populate so you can see what those numbers are. Now you know what you've got to put into that project in order to sell to accomplish those things. And at the same time, you know, hey, listen, I can make 15% net on this deal, and here's how I'm going to do it. But boy, I've got breathing room of this much money because I can go down to 10%, and it's still a healthy number for me. Again, if you're doing this by cash dollar only and not by percentages, you will get yourself in trouble. I promise it. I've seen it too many times. All right, if you guys have any questions, if you ever want to chat about real estate, please feel free to reach out. Sorry about the bumps and the sneezing. That should make for some interesting thumbnails on YouTube. See you guys.